So allow me to address the elephant in the room with regards to my appearance. You are correct. These are not my typical glasses. My usual ones are currently missing. I'm presuming they're underneath my bed, but I don't feel like digging under there right now, so you're going to have to make do with me wearing my backups. Anyway. Last week, website Bleeding Cool released an article speculating that Marvel is looking to cancel their current Fantastic Four comic book and their current Ultimate Fantastic Four comic book, Ultimate FF. They said in the article that this was to screw over 20th Century Fox, the people who own the movie rights to the Fantastic Four and the X-Men. Now the next day, they ran a second article with various reports from anonymous comic book artists claiming that they weren't allowed to draw the Fantastic Four or any of their related characters in any upcoming promotional images. This includes their current poster for the Marvel 75th anniversary. Now, these are some pretty heavy accusations to throw around. The thing is, Bleeding Cool has sort of a reputation for being very gossipy when it comes to comic book news, so myself, and I'm sure a lot of other people out there, weren't sure whether or not it was true. This week, however, other websites like Comic Book Resources, The Escapist, Movie Plot, are all reporting on this story. So maybe something's going on here. Maybe Marvel really is trying to screw over Fox for some reason. I think before we dive into this topic, we need to back up a bit and give a little history. See, back in the late 90s, Marvel had to declare bankruptcy due to a lot of bad investments and the comic book industry just being in a really bad place financially all around. To try and save themselves, they licensed out a bunch of their characters to a whole lot of movie studios to try and get big budget films made on the same level as the current Batman movie series that was going on. Sony got Spider-Man, Fox got the Fantastic Four, X-Men and Daredevil, so forth and so on. Once Marvel came out of bankruptcy due in part to these licenses, they started to see if they could make these movies on their own with the characters they still have the rights to and the ones they can afford to buy back. And I think we all know the story from this point. Iron Man comes out, big success, blah blah blah, Avengers, new golden age of superhero movies. Which is all great for Marvel. But they still don't have all their franchises back. In fact, their two biggest properties are still at other studios. As it currently stands right now, Sony still has the rights to do Spider-Man movies, Fox still has the rights to X-Men and Fantastic Four, Universal still has the rights to Namor the Submariner, and Lionsgate still has the rights to Man-Thing. And since no one really cares about Namor or Man-Thing, especially Man-Thing, this is just going to focus on the Fox and Sony angle. Now, I must preface this by saying that I am not a legal expert, nor do I know the specifics of the deal that Marvel has with Fox and Sony. This is just going on what I could piece together from the internet. Now, it's my understanding that in order for Fox and Sony to keep the rights to these characters, they have to put out at least one movie every 5 years, or else Marvel takes their toys back. This is part of the reason why Sony rebooted and rushed out The Amazing Spider-Man back in 2012, because they were this close to losing their license. Now, in the same year, a similar thing occurred with Fox with regards to the Fantastic Four and Daredevil. Fox is able to work out a deal where Marvel gets back the whole Daredevil property, while they still get to keep the Fantastic Four, which is why now we're seeing all this news about it with the cast and whatnot. Now, there seems to be some good blood between Marvel and Sony. Back in 2012, there was talks about putting the Oscorp building in the Avengers and Stark Tower in The Amazing Spider-Man. That unfortunately didn't happen because negotiations just ran out of time, but apparently it was close to happening. Plus, there's a lot of toys and merchandising for Amazing Spider-Man 2. You want to know what doesn't have any toys or merchandising? X-Men Days of Future Past. This is a pretty big deal because when it comes to the licensing between Marvel and Sony, and again, this is just what I can gather off the internet, whatever money is made off of Amazing Spider-Man 2 merchandise goes directly to Disney and Marvel. Sony doesn't see a penny of it. Now, I would assume a similar deal is in place between Marvel and Fox. However, the last time I was in Target, I didn't see any X-Men toys in the toy aisle at all. In fact, Hasbro's website doesn't list any X-Men toys in production. I did pick this guy up though. See, it says Adult Collector on it. That means I can buy it. So it certainly seems like Marvel is going out of their way to screw over Fox, even at financial risk to themselves. First by not having X-Men toys, and now the speculation about canceling Fantastic Four. If you're wondering why there's no talk about canceling X-Men books, that's because X-Men books sell like crazy every month. And I don't think Marvel's that insane to give up that kind of money. So the idea seems to be that Marvel is quietly sabotaging Fox's movies in order to either bolster their own or to slowly gain their rights back. It's just crazy to think that Marvel would do something like this. Everybody knows the real profit in movies is from merchandising, and yet here they are on it's the principle of the thing kick. Now again, I don't know all the details of their agreement, just what I stated previously, but it certainly seems like someone or something at Fox has pissed off Marvel just enough to go to these extremes. They must be really mad about Quicksilver being in Days of Future Past. It's important to remember that this is all speculation right now, but if this were true, then this is the most insane thing I have ever heard. The Fantastic Four is Marvel's first family. They're the foundation for everything that we love about that company. And yet here they are, actively trying to ruin it so that they can get their toys back. Let me give you another history lesson real quick. Back in 1983, 2 James Bond movies came out at roughly the same time. Octopussy and Never Say Never Again. Octopussy was an official James Bond movie. It starred Roger Moore. It was produced by MGM UA and Eon, the movie studios who make all of the James Bond films from Dr. No all the way up till Skyfall. Never Say Never Again was released by Warner Brothers based on a story by Kevin McClory. Now McClory, through some legal loophole that's way too complicated to explain, owned the rights to Thunderball. Not just the story, but the characters in it, and that includes James Bond, Moneypenny M, and a lot of other major Bond characters. Plus, they got Sean Connery back as James Bond, and they got Irvin Kershner, the guy who directed Empire Strikes Back, to direct this movie. What were the makers of Octopussy possibly going to do? Easy. They went about their damn business, they made their movie, and in the end, it outperformed Never Say Never Again. Which, call me crazy, that's probably what Marvel should be doing right now. Instead of this petty little game they're playing, they should just focus on keeping their movies of the high quality they've always been. Their films easily outgross the Fox films in terms of box office, and they're much better received by critics and fans alike. Even Iron Man 2 and The Incredible Hulk, widely regarded as the worst movies in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, are leaps and bounds better than Fox's 2 Fantastic Four movies. See, if they just focus on making great movies, they'll naturally outperform and outshine the Fox movies, without the need of canceling important titles. People give DC a lot of crap for canceling books because they're either selling really poorly or there's a conflict with the creative team. But Marvel's willing to cancel a book, an important book, because they're in a schoolyard fight with a movie studio. Tell me what you guys think. Do you believe this is possible? Do you think Marvel is capable of doing something like this? Let me know what you think in the comments below or on Facebook and Twitter. As always, like if you like, subscribe if you really like, share this video with your friends. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good week. Instead, what I'm going to do is recommend 5 lesser-known books that don't typically appear on all of these lists. These are all books that tell great and compelling stories and explore the Batman from different angles, and in my opinion deserve to be spoken in the same breath as all the other great Batman books, if not more so. I remember one episode where there's like Mordecai and Rigby, the 2 main characters, they weren't even like the focus of the episode, but they cut to them, they're hanging out by an inflatable pool just rapping about drinking soda. And it was just like, this is amazing.